Yes, welcome. Welcome, petty people, to Dangerous Misinformation, the number one source on the interwebs for dangerous misinformation. I am your host. My name is Rodney Smith. You can find me on all social media platforms at some sort of version of Lord Petty with some underscores. Just look for the pasty face and you'll find me. Appreciate you tuning in. I hope you're having a great day. I hope you're enjoying these daily podcasts. I get to spend a little bit more time with you. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. Like I said, this is the only podcast where we love everybody, we hate on everything, and I appreciate you being here. Please be sure to leave a rating. Please be sure to subscribe, whatever app you are listening on. Do all those good things, and let's dive into it, bro. I'm fully bought into this social media stuff, okay? I'm fully convinced that it is the past, present, and future, and that is where the thing I want to do. It is what I'm passionate about. It's what I enjoy doing. It's what I'm constantly obsessed with, and I really enjoy creating content. But the one thing about it is I'm so annoyed that we have all, and I'm the same way, I'm so annoyed that we've all became just these goldfish that we get like, up, distraction, up, little shiny, bright little things, up, little things popping up, little. It's like the short form content, you know, the way that we're conditioned to, because there's just so much stuff to look at. And that's so the things that'll stop and make you scroll are just the most outrageous. I've always made fun of YouTubers even way before I got in the game. Back in the day where it'd be like, what's up, guys? And they'd pop out at the camera. And it was always such a turn-off thing for me. But one thing I've learned throughout the years is to not so much fight the system as much as to just play the game, to get in position to, learn the rules to break them, I guess. But I guess I'm just annoyed by the internet culture about how you have to just make this super corny, super energetic, super over-the-top content for people to stop there and look at it. But I want to believe that there is a market of people that don't want all the loud, annoying colors popping out at you and random noises. Like, I'm not saying anything bad about Mr. Beast, but I have zero interest in those videos because it takes hundreds of thousands of dollars to make these videos, and it's just every second there's something. It's like you're just sitting there like, ugh. It's like that movie Uncut Diamonds, you know, with Adam Sandler, where I just don't like, I'm just more of a chill person, and I enjoy content where I can kind of sit back and, you know, have that actually I feel more involved when it's a little slower and I have to use my brain versus just constant stimulation, you know? And I think that's a generational thing, or just people in general now with how much we're so overstimulated, you know? I remember I was watching a Harry Mack video the other day. If you guys don't know who Harry Mack is, he's this freestyle rapper who, his brain is basically a computer. It's the wildest shit ever. People will give him 5 words, and he will just spit the craziest freestyle you've ever heard in your life with these 5 words. And I know what that sounds like. Okay, another freestyle, another rapper. But literally go look up Harry Mack. It's the craziest shit I've ever seen in my life. But he'll get on Omegle or Omegle, whatever it's called. And then, he'll ask the people on the computer, give him some words, and he'll just bust this freestyle to them and blow their minds. And there was a kid on there. He was on Omegle. He was playing a video game. So he had the computer on Omegle. He had his TV playing a video game, but then he also had a movie going. I was like, dog, how much stimulation do you need? Like, you're doing these 3 things and now you want to invite more people. And that just doesn't make sense to me. Like, I'm just an old person, I guess. I still like reading books and listening to podcasts and stuff like that. So it's real hard for me to create all this jumpy content where there's just constantly somebody going, hey, what's up, guys? Blah, 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 here's my hook. Like, I understand it. I understand the formula. Okay, create a hook. Create value in the beginning, and then stretch it out, keep people's interest peaked. I don't know, dude. Do I really want the people with the attention span of goldfish paying attention to me? I don't even know if I want those people paying attention to my stuff. I want the humans. I want human connection. I want to use the technology to have a human connection. I don't want all this jumpy, bright colors, text popping up. It's so annoying. So hopefully somebody out there will like that approach. I'm going to try to dial it down. And it's like when you walk, I think about it like this. You know, when you walk into a nice designer store, they have flat, like the walls are white or black or a very neutral color. And then it's just like or like really nice clothes, designer clothes are typically simple. Like they don't beg for your attention. But if you walk into a gas station, for instance, it's all just bright reds, greens, and all these super bright colors. Like people just trying to jump and grab your attention, right? And I don't like that. I like simplicity, and I like cleanliness, and I like sleek, and I like, you know, I've said this before, but if I had fuck you money in my house, like everything in my house would just be black and white. And so hopefully there's a market. I'm hoping there's a market for this type of content. That's why I just have a black background, because I don't want a bunch of things in the shot. Like I want you to actually pay attention to what I'm talking about. And maybe that's a hipster thing to do, but I don't know, dude. I just really don't want to be that annoying. I don't have it in me. It's the whole like keeping it real thing, I guess. But yeah, so show your support. If you support that message, be sure to like this podcast and share it. Maybe you know other people out there that aren't freaking goldfish that want to listen to something that isn't way over the top with bright colors and loud, annoying sound effects, dude. Anyways, moving on. Plowing forward. Here's the big hypocrisy on the left, because the left will always say that Republicans are uneducated and stupid, but they also hold all the wealth and hold all the power, and they make up the patriarchy. So which one is it? How can you be uneducated and stupid and not know what you're talking about, but control everything? That makes no sense. When in reality, it is the left that controls all the institutions because they are the quote educated ones. But my question is always, if we're living in the age of information, right, where all the information you want is for free, if you really wanted to, I mean, it'd be a huge time suck, but you could go learn everything that a general doctor knows by just going online and reading all the studies, reading all the course materials. You wouldn't actually get the certificate and have somebody say, okay, this guy, you know, approve you into that institution, but you could have that actual knowledge, right? And so let's take STEM out of the field. So when people say, oh, I'm you know, when somebody that's quote educated is talking about somebody else being uneducated, but they can't pay off their student loans, wouldn't that make you the dumbass? Unless you're getting something where you have to be certified, like a STEM field, like a, you know, for instance, being a doctor or something like that. I never understand that, but there's this notion that the Republicans are the old rich white men, and maybe that was true like 50 years ago, but I really do think we did a big swap, because if you look at all the institutions now, all the institutions are, you know, very, very left leaning. And I'm not saying that's, you know, good or bad or whatever it is. It just is what it is. You can look at the campaign donations. All the big corporations donate to the Democrats. And because I think tech is so influential now, and because tech is such a like low testosterone field, and it attracts a certain type of people, you know, and they're all left, and money's power, dude. And that's what's so crazy nowadays, because throughout human evolution, history, all that, to be able to make money, you've always had to be a pretty competent and like strong type of guy. And like the most rich people were these guys that built these steel companies and got into the railroads, or auto manufacturers, like all these things where it kind of takes like a manly, competent guy to do these things. But now all the money is sitting in these tech sectors where it's kind of these geeks that get into these things, you know, besides, you know, there's finance bros and there's tech nerds, and that's kind of where all like the big wealth is sitting. And because you know, because money is so powerful, it is power. Now you get really weak people, like just weak dudes, controlling a lot of way of how the world goes, and bad things happen when weak people are at the helm. So I think we really do need to separate you know, the money from being able to influence politics and policies and all this stuff, because the people controlling the money right now are fucking dorks. The people that sit behind computers that have never, maybe some of them, okay, I'm not saying that every tech nerd grew up rich or whatever, but typically when you get into that field, like you were pretty good in high school, then you went to college, then you went and got an internship, then you went and got a job, and you're making 90K at least straight out of college. So what the fuck do you know about the world? So you want to be this virtuous person, right? You want to talk about all these, oh, we should be doing this. We need to do this. We need to not control the borders. Yeah, because you don't have to deal with any of the repercussions. You're rich enough to be completely shrouded from reality because you're sitting there coding stuff on a computer. Yeah, it's crazy, dude. But also I got to respect what they do because I can't do it. I'm shitting on it, but if it was so easy, I would just go do it. I would just go learn the skill of being a coding person or a programmer or something like that, because it is important. Look at technology. I got 2 computers in front of me. I got a phone right here. I got a camera right there, even though a camera, I guess that is tech. Is that tech? I don't know. And I'm using all these different tools. I mean, I'm using at least 4 different pieces of software right now just to get this in your ear. All right. Actually, way more than that if you think about the distribution platforms and the upload. It's crazy. So somebody has to build this stuff. So I am very thankful for the tech. I just wish these people would kind of really take a step back and realize, yes, we are people punching numbers and ones and zeros on laptops, and we are a little removed from reality. And we make a lot of money for it. So we shouldn't force everybody else to deal with the consequences of what we're saying because we are, quote, educated. Anyways, dude. I've been getting trolled a lot, and I deserve it because I say outrageous things. I probably said some outrageous things in that last little monologue I went into, you know? That's the name of the game. You want to be loved and hated. If you're just liked, that's why it's so hard to grow on social media, by the way. I'm gonna come back to what I was meant to talk about. But I find it's very hard to grow on social media now because the social media companies, they want you to be very vanilla. You can't say certain things, like you really can't rattle the cage anymore. And it's not like I'm trying to create clickbait, but the human interest, right? The people, as far as the people that the humans like, are either people that are loved or hated. And the social media companies just want you to be a likable person, but when you're just a likable person, you don't create interest from actual humans. So you gotta like find this weird gray area of like, okay, how are you pleasing the algorithms by being somewhat vanilla and within the boundaries of how the tech companies want you to act, but still differentiate yourself enough to be interesting to actual humans? You know, like how can you either be lovable for being your authentic self and having a new perspective on things, which will just automatically make some people hate you because you can't please everybody, but you can't get caught up on that, obviously. But so there's a lot of people that hate me, rightfully so, and I'm totally fine with that. I love everybody, so I don't really care. But I understand why people wouldn't like me because I'm very opinionated. People come from different walks of life, and they have every right to look at the world in a different way and disagree with me. But one thing I've noticed that every single person, and this is 100% of the time of the people that disagree with me, they never have profile pictures, or when they do, they're wearing a mask and they have pronouns in their bios. And that's fine. If you want to have pronouns in your bios, I get it. You want to show solidarity with a certain community. If you're wearing a mask, you're trying to, signal some things as well. But for the most, I would say 98% of the time, the people that troll me do not have profile pictures. And it drives me nuts because you won't be able to at them too, especially on Instagram. By the way, Instagram is dead. We'll get into that in a second. We'll talk about that in a second. Instagram is dead. They never have profile pictures, and they'll leave a comment, and then I type something back to them. I hit send, and be like, oh, user blah, 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 can't be at. And so it's like, dude, why are you leaving comments if you can't respond? Like, these are the people, judge me by my enemies, and allegedly my enemies are all fucking geeks. So I'm feeling pretty good about myself for the fact that the people that want to beef with me, I would never want anything to do with them. And when they do have a profile picture, they're usually complete fucking nerds. And that's fine. It's okay to be a nerd as long as you're not developing nuclear weapons or hurting people or using that that big common sense lacking brain of yours. Usually what happens to nerds is that evil people will recruit the nerds to do the dirty work for them to figure out ways how to push their evil agendas. That's the trajectory of a nerd. Nerds are never in full charge of things. They're just kind of the right-hand men to evil people because they're fucking nerds and they're easily manipulated, and you just tell them how smart they are and kind of boost their ego a little bit. And give them and pay them a bunch of money. That's what these corporations do. They find these nerds that they can kick around, pay them a bunch of money, and then they go and push the agenda. Push the agenda, because that's... Speaking of pushing the agenda, okay? I am, and I know I said I was going to talk about Instagram being dead, but let's just leave it at that. Instagram is dead. It's a dying platform. They're trying way too hard to police it, and maybe I'm a little biased because I'm completely just banned on anything and everything as far as Instagram, because I reposted a picture of Hunter Biden, and they were like, oh, your stuff won't show anywhere, blah, 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 blah. And it's so weird too, because the things that do well on Instagram for me is if I post text on Instagram, if I post videos on Twitter, if I post like screenshots on TikTok and shorts on YouTube. Those are the things that do well for some reason. It's the weirdest thing in the world. But I just think Instagram is dead. I think they've really just, I think people are sick of content creators on Instagram. Like you miss the posts of your friends on Instagram. And it's just not, I mean, I don't follow new people on Instagram anymore. So it's kind of hard for me to justify. Basically, you follow somebody on Instagram that you know from somewhere else. You're not going to build a following on Instagram anymore. I think the only way you're going to really do that anymore is by TikTok and YouTube. But maybe I'm just salty. But I wanted to talk about, we're talking about the quote system here a little bit ago. And I agree with the far lefties on one thing, and that is that there are definitely flaws with capitalism. I'm a huge capitalist. I believe in the idea that you are only one idea from being away from being a millionaire or being successful, and you can pursue anything you want. That's the beautiful thing about America. You have an idea, pursue it, and you can make that thing a reality. But people get to a point like these finance lizard people and stuff like that, where it's just never enough, and all this insider trading and politics. And like, if you look at the wealth gaps are just really fucking out of control. And everybody now, I mean, if you look at the wealth gaps between the generation, I think once the boomers die off, a lot of this wealth is going to get passed down, and that's going to be really weird. I wonder what's going to happen to the economy once millennials actually have this, because there's all this money. So the boomers' parents, they come from that generation where everything really popped off. And then those parents built this great economy for the boomers. So then the boomers acquired all this wealth. And then the boomers are sitting on all this wealth. And it all just keeps going to the top, to the lizard people and the boomers. And then once the boomers die, this money is going to get passed down. And then I wonder what kind of economy that's going to create. So I don't know, dude. I'm going to try to dip my little hand in there, but I just don't see how sustainable, because the inflation keeps going up. It makes no sense to me. I can't wrap my head around how sustainable that system is. And I'm not saying we usher in full-on fucking communism, because that's stupid. But I do think that there should be laws protecting average people from banks and certain, like I pay my rent, right? I pay my rent, and there's only one way to pay it, and I got to pay a $5 transaction fee. It's like, what? It's like, why am I paying a fee to pay you? You know what I mean? It just makes no sense. There's so many little, they get you on so many little things. Or like when you overrun your checking account, they charge you more money for not having money. And it's like, how is this legal? How is it illegal for somebody to, I don't know, jaywalk and you'll get a ticket for that, but you got this just white collar criminal shit going on? And that's where I agree with the lefties. It's just, I don't think that standing around outside wearing 2 masks with your tits out, screaming with the cardboard sign is going to do anything about it. As Stone Cold Steve Austin will say, and that's all I got to say about that. Anyways, Thank you guys. We're going to wrap it up here. We're going to wrap it up. So you guys have yourselves a wonderful rest of your day. Have yourselves a great rest of your week. I appreciate you tuning in. Yama, take care of yourselves. Please leave a rating. Go check out my book, The Petty Principles. Tell somebody about the podcast. And I thank you very much. God bless you. Suck my big old donkey dick, too. Bye.